Hello everyone. I hope you can see me now. I hope you're there. Anyone? Probably you're busy with all these football games that were happening right now. But I hope there's some of you that can listen to me today. I know there were some of you coming because you told me so, and there were some two questions that were sent to me, three questions that were sent to me. Um, Let me see. I will wait a bit. So I hope your weekend is going well. If you're a football fan from Belgium, congratulations. I'm not really. And and yeah, and I hope you have had quite a good time in this during this eclipse season. For me, at least, I can feel them quite I can feel them quite strongly because it's I could feel a lot of these fluctuations of emotion, especially this one, the first that happened on the 12th to the 13th. Astrologically, I mean, I'm really not an astrologer, but I just what I've heard and what I've read and everything around me was talking about this water trine and how this can affect, especially our emotions now, because there's a lot to do with water. So your emotions are really in a very high tide, and uh, and so it can be a bit challenging to deal with the world, especially if you're sensitive or intuitive. You kind of have to be a bit calm. Let's say taking time for yourself, no, not doing stuff that are too extraneous or that are exposing yourself to too much chaos more than what there is already out there in the world. So yeah, I mean, we are very few today, but yeah. Okay, I see there's people in Spanish. How many of you speak Spanish, by the way? Because if I have two Spanish speakers, probably I will do it Spanish. I don't know. I have one that I know speaks Spanish. I have three, and I don't know. If you speak, okay, yeah, I'll wait a bit to see if some other people join today. Because especially for the people who ask me the question, so I would like to be able to respond. So okay, okay. So if there's someone who I'm not seeing, please just who speaks. I think we are speaking English now. Okay, I think we are. Yeah. Um, okay. So basically, the first question, and I hope the person that asked me this question is online, because otherwise it will be a bit hard. Maybe they can also watch it later if you don't see it now. You can watch it later. So the first question was: there's this person that told me that she has a creative project, and her creative project is actually, let's say, she had an idea, and now she's trying to land and make the concrete details of this project, and in a few days ago, she started to have some rash on the left arm. So, and especially around the elbow. And if I tune in into this idea, especially it's also on the left side, which is not the one of action, no? So when we are talking about the right hand, the right side of the body, normally we're talking about anything that has to do with action, assertiveness, and all this kind of energies. Instead, on the left side, it's mostly do with emotions or the way we are feeling towards that idea, the way we receive stuff. So sometimes when she talks about having a rash on the arm, especially when she's talking about she is getting into the details of putting into execution this project, and she's having a rash. So she said, maybe I'm actually feeling a certain degree of impatience and anxiety. I've been feeling quite anxious, and I think this is has to do with this. And probably I'm really just too impatient or too eager to actually go through this plan, through this project. And but when I tune into with her, what I can feel is that it's not so much about being impatient, sorry, but it's mostly about feeling that she's anxious, that she's feeling insecure about starting. And this is the anxiety that she feels, and especially because this rash is also on the left side. The anxiety is of feeling insecure if what she has projected or what she has seen in her mind of this project and how it can be, and where it can go, where it can take her, that makes her feel uneasy, not because she's anxious to actually do it, but because you're feeling probably insecure of doing it. You're feeling a bit like, insecure. You're not sure. You. It's probably also about this unconscious doubt that you can do it, but of course you can do it. No, it's just maybe you're going through this. So normally, before you start something, you have an idea, you have a super nice idea, and before you go through that new creative, expansive project, you are standing, let's say, behind that new expansion. And once you start walking through that expansion, through that project, through the new things that you've never done, then all these kind of fears and anxieties are starting to come because they are showing. Before they were not showing up because you were not even in it. And so now that she's walking into this project, she actually starts to put into concrete things, to execute this project, to really putting the first stones to build up on this project. Then you start feeling the anxiety that will bring you because of feeling unsure that you're capable of doing it, or feeling insecure that you're actually able to have all that is required to actually execute that. Of course, it's good just to be able to navigate through these emotions, to know that these are just passing through, because you're stepping into this new territory that you're discovering in this new adventure of the project. So what I would say that you could do with your body is, of course, breathe. Breathe a lot, no? When you're starting to feel this anxiety. I mean, it seems very simple, but it's not just the breathing as a bodily exercise, or it's just a mechanical exercise, but really about staying through the breathing with your emotions. So just like feel the emotion of anxiety and breathe it through until it kind of passes. So in that sense, you can be more. In that sense, you will be more aware of that emotion. You will be able to kind of identify the emotion, maybe even see how it transforms. Because normally, when you stay with an emotion, for instance, if you stay with an emotion of anger, and you really just stop and feel that and breathe through that, then at some point you know, and you realize that emotion behind, there's another layer of sadness, and there's another layer of feeling, I don't know, first probably there's a layer of feeling resentful, and probably there's another layer of feeling sadness. And if you can go through these layers without really forcing it, but really just allowing them to come while you are just breathing, while you are present in your breath, you are able to kind of burn these layers of emotion and really go to another place. And if you are basically just ignoring the emotion when it comes, then what happens is also what happens with the arm. No? Then the emotion kind of shows up and expresses itself in another way that probably you're not able to acknowledge if it would be only as an emotion. So maybe your body is just helping you to process that emotion, and if you can just really be with that, present in that emotion of anxiety, and breathe that through, I think it will be very good for you, and you will be able to pass through this stage of feeling anxious because you're starting and stepping in to a new territory in this new project. So I think it will be quite interesting to see what happens. And I think every one of us, every time that we go in a new thing that we have never done, that in a way pushes a boundary, we always go and burn through these layers of emotion that actually were the ones that kept us from moving where we were before, right? Before we actually had the new idea or the new input or the new insight or the new creative impulse. And yeah, so I think it will be very, very, very interesting to do that thing. Staying with going through your breath with this emotion. And the other thing that I think is very interesting is that in this, and I think everyone does it, and I think I have done it many times. I tend to be when you tend to be impatient because you are maybe not sure about what you're doing or a work or how is it going to work, certain project or something. Uh, it's important to kind of keep this very open heart and open heart in the sense that you never know in which way that thing that you want, that project uh, that you are executing now, that you are putting into motion, is going to actually show. So also the timing. Um, yeah, the timing most of the times is never as we think it is. I mean, it's never as we plan one thing, and probably it will never be exactly in the same way we had planned it with our head. And so we have to keep this kind of flexibility to be able to trust that even if things are not coming exactly the same way or the same package that we thought we would like to have it, it is going to be the thing that we wanted in essence. So in the feeling of it, in the way that we are when that project is completed or when we are actually creating the thing. So it's really in the creation that actually one um, is exploring new boundaries and new limits of new ways of being also. Yeah, so yeah, I hope you have find this answer useful, and you find it useful for your rash on your left arm. Okay, and then I have another question from another person. This time is a man, and this time the question is, I'm gonna read it more or less here. So the question is, what's he saying? I'm constantly struggling with this, with how to integrate daily modern life with the spiritual, conscious, generous life in balance. How do you combine the two of them? Making exercises and going to retreat is one way, but still that keeps the two sides of myself away from each other and not integrated. And I think this is a fantastic, this is really a fantastic question, because I think most of us in one moment or another in our lives, we have gone through that, you know, especially anyone who has been doing this work of let's say self-development, self-awareness and all that stuff. We've always been in this situation where we say, okay, I go to a workshop and I see I go to a workshop and I see a different reality, and probably I do an exercise and I feel very different, and I see the result and I feel the connection with spirit. But on the other hand, when I'm out of that and I go back to my regular life, let's say, then this is like another reality, and I cannot bring these two things together. So this is the question of this person. So how can he bring these two realities together? You know, the spiritual life that more or less you seem to be able to live through a workshop or to live through through an exercise, and the life that you are able to live on the everyday life. But I think, for instance, I go one moment to the exercises and meditation, all that stuff. I think meditation should not be, and I think somebody else says that, and I think Abraham says that, and I think I really agree with this. The meditation shouldn't be more than 15 minutes a day, because the life that is happening to you, it's here and now, and is not kind of in that cloud, in that pink cloud that you can go on onto when you are meditating. You know? So the meditation, the purpose of meditation is basically to kind of quiet your mind so you can really receive the impulse of the divine. And I think that's the really important thing. If anyone would like to really bring these two realities together, I think what is most important is to find something, whatever it is, on an everyday life, on an everyday ritual, let's say, that can allow you to kind of quiet your mind a bit, so that you can really receive these impulses, these kind of insights on what is important for you, what do you feel to do in the moment, so that you're more connected. And I think it's also about speed. So it's important to be able to slow down at some point during the day, so that we can really connect to what is important for us in that moment or in the next hours. And there's another point here. The moment we start to kind of slow down, no, because it's not that you slow down only 15 minutes and then you go on with your life. But the moment you start kind of slowing down with some sort of meditation, it can be also like an active meditation for people who cannot stay still for half an hour. You can do something that is an active meditation for you. For instance, for me, sometimes going outside on my terrace and just stay with plants for half an hour, that already puts me in another level of consciousness. It already calms me down, and maybe I see the things, I come back to the office and I see my life or the issue that I was having at hand in a completely different perspective. So I think that's also a way in which we can do this, in which we can bring these two realities together, you know, the life of daily life, and the, let's say, the spiritual life. So for me, meditation is a door, but it's really just a very fraction of the time of the day, like 5 to 15 minutes, just to kind of be able to receive impulses and the insights of spirit, let's say. And the other thing I think is very important, I don't know why it came in this. I mean, it's funny because it's a bit, if I think of it, maybe you see like, what is he talking about? Why is he talking about that now? But probably a very unusual, I would say, or it's not the first thing that comes to your mind when you say, how can I bring the two realities together? the spiritual and the human together is also through the heart and through connecting with others. And when you connect with others, it's not just like um, I'm gonna look at this person like in their eyes, and I'm gonna look at them for 5 minutes, and then our souls are gonna unite, and we're gonna be super happy, because that is never happening. It's never the case that, I mean, you cannot have that. Well, you can, but it's very hard probably to go to a store and have that kind of intimacy with a person that you just find on the store. But what I think is important is that you could. What I think is important is that you could actually. There's something about a gift, but this gift will mean just being able to put your own. For instance, it sounds very cliche what I'm going to say, but just giving something to the people around in the world, in your daily life, like the person, the lady that is on the, I don't know, the lady that is on the coffee bar that you drink your coffee, and or the person that is on the bus or on the metro or whatever it is, and then going there and give them something like a smile or just really a look in the eye, so that they really connect with you for 2 seconds. It doesn't mean that you're gonna have, I don't know, a relationship or an affair, or is gonna be your friend or anything. But these small connections of heart in these very little things that look like nothing make a great a great um, a great difference, because hello Olga, hi. They really bring such a, how can I say, such a big, they can make a big difference of um, how you perceive the world, because the world is starting to get connected as you see it in the spiritual world, let's say, no? In when you talk about spirituality, you can see that spirituality is kind of bringing us to this idea and this feeling that we are basically not separated. And if we are doing this same gesture, this same sign with people around, trying to just open up and say, okay, we are not separated, so I'm going to smile to you, I'm going to say thank you to you, I'm going to look in your eyes to you. And all these things can actually allow you to feel a little bit more connected, a little bit less separated from everyone else. And yeah, so I'm just gonna make a little pause to say something to someone en Spanish. Hola a los que están aquí hablando español. Solo este video por ahora lo hice en inglés, y eventualmente voy a avisar cuándo, si se suscriben a mi newsletter, pueden saber cuándo será el próximo de estos videos que haré en español, y pueden enviar sus dudas o sus preguntas a mi correo, y en uno de estos videos en vivo los contestaré. Espero que hayan escuchado este mensaje. Okay, thank you for the little pause. Sometimes I have to go back and forth with languages. And yeah, so I was saying, so maybe the what I would suggest to this man is really to be able to find something that you can give, something that you can give that can connect you to people around in your daily life, because I think that's actually the core of the spirit world. Let's say the spirituality is basically this feeling of we are all interconnected, everything is well, and we have to kind of copy paste that feeling and put it into the very concrete actions in our daily life, no? So that we can go around and really do these little gestures. So I think that's another way in which you can bring these two realities together. And it has to be something, also, as I said, it doesn't have to be something that you do when you go to a workshop, or when you do this exercise that you do every day for an hour. but it has to be something that you can really integrate in your life, in the daily rituals of your life. And as I said, one thing is meditation, and the other thing would be this giving these little gestures of connection, connecting with people in maybe ways that you are also very not used to that. That maybe for you would be a bit, sorry, that maybe for you would be a little bit daring, but that they are, yeah, because we are not used to that. We are not used to that level of intimacy and trust with people. And that's what you have when you talk about the spirit world, no? In that level of consciousness, we are all one, and so we have to kind of try to repeat that level of connection with people. I would do that. I think I even will pay attention myself even more of that, so that we can kind of that we can recreate that connection with people wherever we go, and I think that's an important thing. Okay, so I hope you have I have answered that question well, and and that you can take these two tips into account so that you can integrate this daily modern life with spiritual self-conscious. There are tons of moments when you can actually use these two things. So anyway, let's see. There's another stuff. I don't know about you guys, but I was talking about the eclipses before. And whenever you see it, actually, if you see it much later, if you see this video, because this video is going to be on my video collection. So if you see it later, doesn't matter, because the effects of these eclipses are always like 6 months from the date they happened. And what I think it's really, I mean, that's calling my attention to people that I am working with, and also people that I am with, just people that I'm talk lately, is that probably what is also showing up for us this what's showing up for us this eclipse is also like ways in which it's almost like it's taking it's showing up to us very easy parts of our ego, that or how they were formed. So it's almost like it's showing us the emotion and the, let's say, what we learned through that emotion, and how we started reacting automatically in certain events that were probably just based in a past experience. No, so we were shocked about something, and we kept on repeating the same pattern of reaction every time that someone tells us this or that. Then we go on into that pattern because we are fearful. We have fear of repeating the same thing, the same hurt, the same pain, the same mistake. And so to me, it's like this eclipse is trying to show us in these months, coming weeks, let's say, that in a very subtle way, it's almost like you could see these patterns with an amplifying glass, so that you can really see the thought that is behind the thoughts, or the pattern of thought that is behind these reactions and the emotion. So you can really quite clearly, quite easily, you can really deactivate this, and really turn off that piece of ego that is being fueled with that pattern of thought that probably creates these realities that you don't want. That creates these situations where you say, "Oh, I always find myself in this or that situation, and I don't know why." And then this time it's out like you really nailed it. Like you can see it very clear. What is that thought and the emotion behind, and yeah, I really feel very strong that it's a very nice way that the universe helps us to clear any shocks in our central column now, in our, yeah, in our vertical axis, so that we can really bring more of this energy of our soul and really trying to bring it more and more down to be able to incarnate fully the light of our souls. Yeah, I think so. Okay, so yeah, I think I've covered the three questions today. Today there's really, really little people. I think there was basically people on and off. Not like the other time. I think maybe I really took, um, maybe it was really a bad day for people because there was this football game and it's a Saturday evening. Probably people is going out or whatever. I don't know. I'm trying out, let's say, a few days. Last time it was a Sunday, I guess. It was a little bit later, like 2 hours later. The problem there is that people that were, yeah, the problem with that date is the people that were coming from the Americas, they couldn't watch this because it was too early or something like that. So this is the first time, this is the first time that I do it on a Saturday at this time. So hopefully it will be better. And I didn't do it on a Sunday because Sunday there's also a game, football game. So that's a problem also. Then everyone wants to look the game. So I was not really doing, not picking the right day. Hello, Beth. How are you? Nice to see you here. I was saying that with this time we are having very little people because there's something people is coming in and out all the time. And actually, I've just finished the three questions that I had being given today. But if you have something that you want to talk, Beth, you can really just type your question or type the subject that you want to talk about, and I'll be very happy to put it out. If not, then there's no problem. You can think about a bit. It's a different experience, definitely, to be live than to actually record a video, because in the video you can always edit things that you don't like or something. Here is more like you have to accept the whole thing as it is. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So it seems that this is it. So I finished the three questions that I had before, and since there's nothing else, probably I will close down this live session today. I thank you everyone for coming. Thank you anyone who's watching this video later. It was a short one today. We'll see what happens next time. Um, yeah, well, if you have, aha, okay, okay. I have a question from Beth. So yeah, maybe, yeah, Beth. I was talking about the eclipse season and um, how for me it's kind of as if we are able to, through these eclipses, there's some part of the ego that is being kind of eclipsed, no? That is kind of being shadowed by the by the shadow of the moon, and that part is kind of putting in front of our eyes. So it's like, for instance, if I have a pattern of reacting very badly when someone criticizes me, then this time is not, I just don't go directly or in automatic with that reaction, but I can see it more clearly. I can see even the thought. You can see kind of the thought where that came from, or the habit of thought when somebody criticizes you and I say, oh yeah, I mean, I don't know, I'm really bad in what I do, or I don't know, whatever thought that has created that feeling. And then you can see the emotion, and it's almost like then you can disarm that bomb. So it doesn't explode every time that someone pushes that button, but you can really just kind of see the pattern of thought and the emotion that goes with it. And I think that's what I've been seeing in these days with people, and in the moment with this eclipse season that started, I think 2 days ago. And what I'm saying also is that this eclipse season is normally going to last. I mean, sorry, the effects of the eclipses, they say, astrologers say, I'm not an expert on astrology, but they say that they could last up to 6 months. And I'm just feeling what these eclipses might be doing to us, or what they can bring. So I don't believe that any of these, you have these astrologers that talk about it very, there's always kind of these things that you have to be fearful of, no, this horrible I don't know, opposition or whatever. And in a way, I think it's not the way it is. I think it's always, there are always kind of doors and opportunities in everything. It's always to help us grow and expand. It's never to do harm to us, or to make us suffer. I really don't want. If it's not true, I just don't want to see it like that. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna draw a card for Beth. Yeah, since you're here, just gonna draw a card for Beth. Oh wow. So I have this card for you, which is, oops, can you see it? So this is called, there's better. So this card is called Shin, and the number is the number 21. And normally this card is almost like you could think that it's more or less the same card as the card of the Fool with the Tarot card. And this card is really nice because it's, on one hand, it's telling that if you feel like there's an intuition about something, about something that is in your life, probably you're maybe feeling that there's a direction or an impulse of something that you feel unsure, that you are not like, I don't know, sounds kind of crazy, this stuff, then it's almost like she is telling you, no, I mean, you're quite right about that. It's really that intuition that feels sometimes foolish, that feels really, that goes beyond your rational mind, and that even if you don't see why you're saying that, or why you're wanting that, or why you are doing that, you're still kind of know that it's all right for you in this moment. And let me see what else is here, because I'm gonna pick a line for you. So let's see, a line for you. Yeah, and it's also talking about, because this card is also about, oops, God, the reflection is horrible. Okay, this card is also about, you see the color is orange and yellow, and it's quite fiery. And it's also about fire. It's also about the fire of, so when you're going with a new idea or a new intuition, you have to kind of bring your old stuff, the stuff that was useful before, the stuff, how can I say, the clothes that you used to wear, where you could, I don't know, that maybe was a label for you on those clothes, and those stuff, those clothes are no longer serving you, and you have to bring it to the fire, no, and burn it in the fire, because those are old, yeah, or it's an old costume that you used to wear and is no longer serving you. So that's Does it make any sense for you if you're listening to me? Hmm. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I will just wait a second. Okay. Okay, I think I will leave the things here. Okay. Bet said, spot on. I have been resisting a new path and wanted to go back to the old corporate world. Good. Great. Thank you. That's good. Yeah, these cards are fantastic. I'm happy that you that you could. Yeah, great. So I'm very happy. Yeah, I think yeah, I think it's also this thing, no? The safe nest that is old but is safe, and the other one. Great. Wow. Great. So I'm happy that it could help you. So yeah, they're telling you kind of like mm, yeah, like you can go with that impulse, with that intuition, and really again go with the flow, and like don't resist the change. I know it's difficult. I mean, I know about that too. Yeah, great. Do, do you need anything else? Do you need anything else? Let's see. Okay, okay, okay. So, so thank you very much for being here, whoever